Well, good evening. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith, and how are you all today? We're into the relaxing part of the evening. We're down at College of the Ozarks. I've shot a couple of other ones today. If you've watched those, you know that we're down here at one of our favorite places. We're down here to take a tour tomorrow, like a prospective student tour for our kids, because this is a university that we have supported for many, many years. We believe in their Christian principles and their bedrock foundational principles that the school is built in. If you're not familiar with it, it's known as Hard Work U. The kids who go to school here, they don't pay tuition. They work jobs on campus, and the school has all sorts of jobs for them. They have a dairy farm, they have their own farm, they have their own fire department, they have a jelly factory, they have a fruitcake factory, they make their own ice cream, they have their restaurant, unbelievable restaurant. We had brunch there today, and it's just the most amazing thing you could see. Anyway, they have any kind of job you can imagine. Kids come in and they work those jobs, and they work those jobs during their years at school, and they leave with a degree that is highly thought of internationally, without any student debt, without having to pay anything. It's a tough school to get into. They don't let many people in. It's a small school. It's a small Christian non-denominational school. And it, like I say, it goes according to the bedrock principles on which our country and most of our families are based. So we are big supporters, and we just love it down here. So we're staying here tonight at the College of the Ozarks in the Keeter Center, which is their hotel. Beautiful place. And it got me to thinking about a video that I've been wanting to make for a while, and that is rules for groups. You know, everybody has their own idea about groups, whether you call them a mag, a tribe, a crew, a group, or whatever. I just call mine a circle of friends. It doesn't matter. It's all pretty much the same. And through the years, you know, there's been a lot of discussions about exactly what rules you should have. And some go along with the idea that you need to have hard and fast set rules at the very beginning while you construct your groups now. And if that works for them, I'm not going to argue with that. It's not my way, but I wouldn't argue with any way that works for someone else. I have said before in some previous videos that I don't really believe in putting together a formalized group before an emergency, simply because when people are brought together, I've seen it so many times, and probably so have you, when groups are formed for the primary purpose of preparedness, you pull people in for that specific reason. People are interested in preparedness, but they come from a variety of backgrounds and a variety of sometimes belief systems and different moral codes, and these come out over time, and these are the things that have been the cause of many groups collapsing. You know, if you've been in groups, you've probably had a couple of them go out underneath you. I've had so many people comment here, and so many other people in the preparedness community have told me the same thing. They said, I've been in 4 groups, and they all fell apart, and here's why, and here's why, and here's why. Well, I don't go about it that way for that very reason, because I think that a good group grows organically. And I simply look at my friends, those who I have worked with, over a long period of time, and have found that they are the ones that I trust. Not only do I trust them as people, but we share the same values, the same principles, the same belief systems, and that creates a very strong bond. When I was talking about in my books, and I forget if I got into this in the second or third book. By the way, I don't have my books with me, but all these videos are brought to you by my books, the Stonemont series, and I'll put the links on how to get them down below. You can get them either from Amazon or from me. It's the Stonemont series, the Reversion, the Revival, the Renewal, and Appeal to Heaven, the Blessings of Freedom, and the new one that just came out, Hostages to Fortune. So in them, I talk about, as Stonemont, and then as Jamestown and the satellite Stonemont communities start to build, they start to think that maybe they should codify, a legal system, or what should the rules of the community be. And so Jim Wyatt, the main character in it, assigns Bill, who is a retired judge who came into the fold during the very first book. He assigns him the job of coming up with a code, a behavioral code, a criminal code. He says, if we're going to have all these people, we need to be able to say exactly, what's allowed, what's not allowed, what's within the bounds, what's out of bounds, all that. And so as I developed that, and I developed through some discussions and things like that, and it's a study of, as I did back in my old constitutional law days, the Mosaic Code, the Code of Hammurabi, and many of the other ancient judicial and codes. And I discussed that, and I had Bill, the character, kind of look at that. And finally he came back, and he said, he told Jim and the group, that after looking at everything, he didn't feel he could improve on what had been inscribed and set down as the community's, as Jim had set as the community's legal parameters at the very beginning. And it reminded me when I walked into our room here at the Keeter Center, and I looked over and I went over by the bed and saw this beautifully well-used Bible. A Bible should be well used. And when I saw this it reminded me of this video that I've been meaning to make. And so the code that Bill, here comes some of the tribe back in the room. That's all right, guys, you don't have to be quiet. I'm almost done with this one. It reminded me of the scene of to where when Bill came back after thinking about all these different legal codes throughout history, he said he could not improve on the one that had been set down initially, taken from this, and that was simply the 10 Commandments and the Golden Rule. That's my opinion. That's all I think that is necessary. When you start trying to micromanage behaviors, or if you feel that it's necessary to micromanage behaviors, you've already set yourself up for problems. Because that means that you're dealing with people that need to be micromanaged when it comes to behavior. People who say, well, I don't know what's wrong with that. And that's what's wrong with our society. What's important is to have a group around you who has no trouble at all understanding the basic concepts and principles of the 10 Commandments and the Golden Rule. And if you find somebody that feels that they don't explain it well enough, or there's room to quibble, that person is not going to be the person that's going to be a solidifying force in your group. If somebody needs to be explained more than the 10 Commandments and the Golden Rule, you're never going to be able to explain enough to them. So that's my thoughts when it comes to rules for groups. It's very simple. I can't improve on God. Doubt you can either. So I stick with that. 10 Commandments and the Golden Rule. And if people will go according to that, there's not going to be a problem. And if people don't understand it, there will always be a problem. So anyway, that's my thoughts for tonight. You all have a good night. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And one of the most important things in preparing well is getting that group around you that understands the basics and agrees on the basics. So you all have a good night. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.